You know how you feel when you're stuck in a middle seat on a commercial flight, elbow deep in someone else's armrest, eating a $14 bag of pretzels while a baby cries directly into your soul? Yeah, the people on this list have never felt that. Not once. Not ever. And after seeing what they fly in, honestly, I don't blame them. This is the Wealth Stallion, and today we're going through the top 10 most expensive private jet brands in the world, who owns them, and the details that make each one more insane than the last. Buckle up. Number 10. Cessna Citation, starting at around $3 million. Cessna is kind of the Toyota Camry of private jets. Reliable, well-built, everywhere, and the entry point for people who have serious money but aren't completely unhinged yet. The Citation family goes all the way up to the Citation Longitude at $27 million, cruising at 45,000 feet. Floyd Mayweather has been spotted on Citation jets. Fortune 500 CEOs use them as workhorses. They're not glamorous. They're practical, which in the private aviation world is practically a personality flaw. Number 9. Embraer Praetor, starting at around $17 million. Brazil's Embraer is one of the most underrated names in private aviation. The Praetor 600 seats 12 passengers, flies over 4,000 nautical miles non-stop, and costs around $21 million fully configured. Wide cabin, lie-flat seats, a full galley. Here's a fun fact. Embraer is the third largest commercial aircraft manufacturer in the world behind Airbus and Boeing, but barely anyone knows their private jets exist, which is exactly what their customers prefer. No flashy name, no attention, just a very quietly excellent aircraft doing very quietly excellent things at 40,000 feet. Number 8. Dassault Falcon, starting at around $25 million. Dassault is French, and it shows. These jets are elegant in a way that American brands simply aren't. The Falcon 8X flies up to 6,450 nautical miles non-stop with 3 engines, making it one of the most fuel-efficient large cabin jets available. The cabin is wide, the design is refined, and the whole thing has this understated European cool that makes you feel like you should be wearing a turtleneck the moment you board. Richard Branson, a man who has literally flown to space as a leisure activity, owns a Dassault Falcon. When someone whose hobby is space tourism picks this for everyday flying, you know it's doing something right. Their upcoming Falcon 10X will have the largest cabin of any purpose-built private jet when it enters service. The French are quietly coming for the crown. Number 7. Bombardier Challenger, starting at around $27 million. Bombardier is Canadian, which means it is polite, professional, extremely competent, and slightly underappreciated. The Challenger 350 and 650 are the mid-size workhorses of the private jet world. Up to 12 passengers, 4,000 nautical miles of range, and one of the widest cabins in its class. Bill Gates owns a Bombardier Challenger 605. Yes, the second richest man in the world, a man who could buy literally anything on this list, chose the understated Canadian option. No flash, no drama, just a reliable aircraft that gets him where he needs to go. That tells you everything about his personality. Very Bill. Number 6. Gulfstream G600, starting at around $54 million. Now we're in Gulfstream territory, and this is where things get seriously impressive. The G600 seats up to 19 passengers, flies 6,600 nautical miles non-stop, and cruises at Mach 0.9. The oversized oval windows let in more natural light than almost any other business jet. The cabin air refreshes completely every 2 to 3 minutes, and Gulfstream keeps the cabin altitude lower than competitors, which genuinely reduces jet lag. Kim Kardashian owns a Gulfstream G650ER, the extended range version just above the G600, which she named Kim Air and spent $150 million on after customization, including a private cinema on board. The G650ER and G600 share essentially the same DNA. The Kardashian effect on private aviation is very, very real. Number 5. Gulfstream G700, starting at around $75 million. The G700 is Gulfstream's current flagship and one of the most impressive aircraft ever built for private use. 5 distinct living areas, a master suite with a full shower, a dedicated lounge, a dining area that seats 6, all inside one jet that flies 7,750 nautical miles non-stop, meaning New York to Dubai without landing. At Mach 0.935, it is also one of the fastest purpose-built private jets on Earth. Oprah Winfrey owns a G700. A woman who started with nothing was told by a TV executive that she was unfit for television and became one of the most powerful media figures in history. Now has a walk-in shower at 40,000 feet. Genuinely, one of the greatest glow-ups aviation has ever seen. Elon Musk also owns one. You might remember that a college student named Jack Sweeney tracked Musk's jet using public flight data and revealed he once flew a 9-mile trip in it. 9 miles. On a $75 million jet. Some of us can't justify an Uber for 9 miles. Elon does it in a G700. Number 4. Bombardier Global 7500. Starting at around $73 million. If Gulfstream is American luxury, the Bombardier Global 7500 is the Canadian answer that quietly matches it and adds a few things the Americans didn't think of. 4 living spaces, a full kitchen, a master bedroom with a shower, and a range of 7,700 nautical miles non-stop, putting it in direct competition with the G700. The standout feature is the Nuage seat, a zero-gravity lounge chair developed with a luxury furniture designer that reclines into a full flat bed. Multiple aviation journalists have called it the single most comfortable seat ever installed in a private aircraft. You board this jet and you are not flying anymore. You are horizontal in a zero-gravity chair somewhere over the Atlantic. Larry Page of Google owns a Global 7500. The man co-founded one of the most valuable companies in history. If he says the zero-gravity chair justifies $73 million, it probably does. Number 3. Bombardier Global 8000, starting at around $78 million. The Global 8000 is the fastest civilian aircraft since Concorde. Not a marketing line. It hits Mach 0.94, and during a test flight, it briefly went supersonic, making it the first transport category aircraft to do so on sustainable aviation fuel. Bombardier basically accidentally broke the sound barrier in a private jet and then carried on like nothing happened. Range of 8,000 nautical miles, up to 19 passengers, and a per-air system that filters the cabin air to a standard that rivals hospital operating rooms. You breathe cleaner air on this jet than in most buildings on the ground. Starting price $78 million, but real-world, fully customized deliveries are pushing above $90 million. Number 2. Boeing Business Jet, starting at around $100 million. This is where we leave purpose-built private jets entirely and enter the territory of people who looked at a full-size commercial airliner and said, "Yes, but make it mine." The Boeing Business Jet range strips commercial Boeing aircraft to the frame and rebuilds the interior as a flying mansion. The BBJ 787 Dreamliner gives you 2,400 square feet of cabin space at $225 million before a single customization, 3 times the interior volume of any purpose-built private jet. Drake owns a Boeing 767-200ER called Air Drake, worth $185 million fully customized, with Drake's branding throughout every surface because Drake is not the kind of person who travels anonymously. Donald Trump owned a Boeing 757 nicknamed Trump Force One with gold-plated seatbelt buckles and a master bedroom. Of course he did. And Roman Abramovich, former owner of Chelsea Football Club, owned a Boeing 787 Dreamliner valued at $350 million after customization, complete with anti-missile defense systems and a security setup that U.S. intelligence reportedly compared to a nuclear launch facility. When you need missile defense on your plane, you have entered a completely different category of wealthy. Number 1. The Sultan of Brunei's Boeing 747-430, valued at $230 million. And then there is this. The Sultan of Brunei, Hassan al-Bolkiah, one of the world's last absolute monarchs, worth an estimated $28 billion from oil, paid $100 million for a Boeing 747, and then spent another $120 million rebuilding the entire interior from scratch. In gold, solid gold and Lalique crystal sinks, gold-plated bathroom fixtures, lapis lazuli inlaid into the tables, custom carpeting throughout, a master bedroom, multiple guest suites, a full dining room where the table seats a dinner party at altitude, a remote-controlled private office, and a throne, an actual throne, in the main lounge, on a plane. The security required to board it is reportedly more complex than accessing U.S. nuclear launch codes. Intelligence officials have actually stated that. And the most unhinged detail of all? The Sultan is a licensed pilot who flies it himself. This man owns a gold-plated, throne-equipped $230 million aircraft, and he personally puts it in the air. In 2013, he flew it to Washington, D.C. to meet President Barack Obama. He piloted his own throne plane to go meet the President of the United States. And that's not even his only jet. He also has 2 Airbus A340s and a Boeing 767. The 747 is just the one he takes when he needs everyone to know exactly who is landing. So there you go. 10 brands, starting with the Toyota Camry of private jets and ending with a gold-plated flying palace with a throne and missile defense, piloted by the man who owns it. The thing that gets me is that most of these people didn't grow up with any of this. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for TV. Drake was a child actor on a Canadian teen drama. Elon was nearly bankrupt in 2008, and now they all have jets worth tens of millions parked somewhere, waiting. That's the story behind the planes, not the aircraft, the people inside them. This is the Wealth Stallion. Subscribe right now if you're not already, and drop a comment below telling us which jet you'd take if money was completely off the table. Stay wealthy, stay curious, see you in the next one.